a bit of an eBay haul. I managed to win a load of hardwood handrail and about 40 spindles. Now the spindles are too short to meet the regulations, so they're just being stacked in the garage for something else. But all these hardwood handrails, sort of standard hardwood handrails, are perfect for what we need really, and they're only £10 for everything. So we definitely saved ourselves at least a couple of £100 there, but they need a bit of a tidy up. Most of them have never been fitted, but they still need a good clean, a good sand. Right, it's absolutely tipping it down, so apologies about the noise of the rain on the roof. These are all hand sanded now to a pretty good standard. I'm going to give them one final rub over before we put the finish on there. Now I need to do the annoying bit, which is the groove in here is not big enough for our spindles. It must be an old size rebate in there, so we need to make it about 4mm, 5mm bigger. It's basically a blade's width, the kerf width on both sides. So I've kind of set up the fence. I've done a couple of tests, and I think it's just about spot on now. Right, I think I'm there with this first one at least. Where I really struggle with this budget table saw is the fence is just awful. It tips, it budges, and it's hard to keep it square, so I end up clamping the back end. Just give it a little bit of a clean up. Now a bit more sanding, and then we can head up and look at getting the finish on. The finish I'm going for is Osmo. We've used it just about everywhere in the house, all the doors, the floors, shelving. This is the satin, which again is the one we've used the most. We always go for the rapid because it dries a bit quicker, but this is the only one that I could find today. It says 10 to 12 hours dry time, so if I just do one coat a day it should be fine. 2 coats should be ample. So I'm going to put this on first. I'm hoping the clear will make these as dark as they were before I sanded them, so they'll go back to that deep mahogany. These 2 other handrails look like they're a lighter hardwood. So that's the last of the deep mahogany colour done. And I kind of get it. I always thought mahogany was a little bit out of fashion and old school, which it kind of is, but that's really why I'm putting it back into the house. I could just put white oak everywhere like a lot of people might do, but trying to keep in with the heritage of the house, it would likely have been, well, I can see that it would have been a very dark stained softwood or perhaps hardwood for the handrails before they were brutally ripped out. So I think it's going to work. We're going to go with white spindles and white base rail, so and the treads of the stairs where they're visible. So it's only just a little accent, and I think we're going to do the newel posts in the same way. Oh! Crikey, that is heavy. I was thinking I might use it for trellis, for peas, but I think it's a bit overkill. Right. Got 2 hours before the kids get back, so it needs to be safe. Obviously, temporarily put this in, which was to hold it, but I think that can come out now. So I think our first priority is to get this base rail in, and then we can work our way up from there. We're going to end up with our handrail coming across and basically following what that metal was doing, coming across, hitting the bottom of the stairs above, coming down at an angle and terminating into the post that's here. I completely forgot that we haven't trimmed out the bottom of here, which was the original plan. I've been up and down to the workshop a few times. What I've done is use some of the infill strip and just chamfered the edge with a hand plane. Okay, I'm now working on the handrail. So I've put a spindle or baluster at either end to make sure that we're perfectly vertical from the base rail, and that this is in the centre of the newel. But I'm gonna use some planed square edge pine as like a test piece. I am aware that you can get these angle finders which, as you open them up, they kind of automatically bisect it. We're not quite at that point. We'll battle on with our little trusty old set of tools. It was too good to be true for it to be a square cut, so I've just squared that off on the mitre saw, so you can see that's nice and snug. Because we're staining everything, the last thing we want is any seams showing. That's good. Square against the fence. I just finished the edit. I thought I'd give you a bit of a rundown on how things went. So the 2 runs that we did with the handrail so far are the main stairs coming up and this section across the landing. They were both a similar sort of, both had the same sort of angle issue at the end to deal with. The main problem was where we fixed them to the newels. I sped it up quite a bit in the video, but it was a bit of a nightmare. I really wanted this to be a hidden fixing, so I ideally was hoping to go in from underneath, and there are some kit, I bought a kit to do that. The hardware was something like 10 or 12 pounds, and I thought essentially we could manage with a coach screw, I guess. So we tried to pre-drill underneath and send that in, because there was enough meat there in the handrail to hide the head of it. But it was just not going to work. It was just hard enough getting the socket head in there as well, to even on the impact driver, to get in there. So we had to revert to coming in from the side. Now that means you have to plug the hole afterwards, and it was just a bit of a pain really. The first coach screw actually sheared off, it snapped, because we were going into the hardwood and I hadn't pre-drilled it far enough, and there was just too much torque on the impact driver. So we reversed that's why I ended up using that socket set, and it tightened up absolutely fine. So it does mean that we've got the hole there that we just need to either get one of the caps, or we just need to plug that and match it. I'm going to cover the spindles and that installation in the next video, but just to kind of give you an idea, these stained up pretty close in the end, the newel posts. It took 1 stain of brown and then either 1 or 2 red stains over the top of that, and by the time that they were both osmoed with that wax oil finish, they've come up really nice and a good match. Right, we're down the bottom now. This newel post went in much easier than the top one, but where the handrail meets here, I was able to put some fixings in from underneath up on an angle and fix that really securely without any visible kind of plugging needed or anything like that. So this is what I was aiming for. Also where the junction is, where it kind of takes that angle across the ceiling, I was able to hide the screw in there as well because it's hidden by the ceiling. So those joins up the top were wood glue for strength, but I then put a little bit of super glue, CA glue, around the outside of it. You saw me doing that, and that was just to kind of give me a temporary clamp almost, whilst I then put the mechanical fixings in, which were the screws. So it's a bit of a combo, and I did that on a few other bits of the stairs. We'll probably revisit that technique, but it seems to work well, and it might not be the way that everyone does it, but it worked well working on my own. It's very hard to clamp those sort of miters, so that was the way I went. This is a little bit of a preview. These spindles aren't actually in permanently, they're just blocked in with a screw temporarily to keep it safe. They will be in the next video, putting all those in. There was some fiddly work to do. I also pre-finished every part of the stairs before we installed it. So the handrails and the spindles were all painted or stained before we fit them. There's still a little bit of snagging to do where kind of the joins are and things like that, but so far so good with the idea of get it all finished before we install it. Okay, hopefully you're enjoying the stair renovation series. We're almost there, we're kind of on the home straight, but I don't want to rush the whole finishing of it, the little fine details that I'll be spotting for the rest of our lives here if I don't do it right. So we've kind of started lining up ideas for the carpets and whether we could do a runner or things like that. But also we've still got that whole other flight of stairs going up to the top floor to do. So there's a little bit left in it. Next video is going to be fitting the spindles and spraying them as well, doing all that finish work. And then there's probably another one video after that, just kind of the whole installation, wrapping it up. We had to rebuild the trim and the bull noses on the end of the treads. So it's been a challenge, nothing's been easy, but I think it's going to be a rewarding project to get done. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, you can click the link down below and make sure you click that bell symbol, and that will just give you a little notification every time we post a new video. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself. So remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time. Yeah.
Did you know I got my foot? I was just kneeling on the chair.